Ladies and gentlemen, after all, this election was a lot about women, wooing women and their votes. While all of that happened, there was also a lot of casual political sexism that was thrown in. And one of the leaders who really did that repeatedly was Ramesh Bidhuri. Well, he has lost. The results are out. BJP is back in the national capital after 27 years. And how? But our focus for this 1 hour, or less than that, at least, is on two candidates. That's Atishi, a big face saver for the Aam Aadmi Party, who defeated Ramesh Bidhuri by 3,500 votes. But is there more to this win, rather defeat? This comes less than a month after a series of distasteful, sexist remarks from Ramesh Bidhuri. One where he promised roads in Kalkaji smooth like Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's cheeks. Amid a massive backlash, he expressed regret, but within hours spewed sexist venom again. This time, on the then-sitting Chief Minister Atishi, addressing her as Marlena, he said she has changed her father. Earlier she was Marlena, now she has become Singh. This is their character. That's what he said, and I quote him on it. Soon, during a press conference, the then Chief Minister Atishi was seen break down, asking why does he need to drag her ailing old father. While sexism, patriarchy and toxic masculinity isn't new to politics, is there more to read to the big stunning victory, one of the big two-face savers for the Aam Aadmi Party in an election that went all out to woo the women voters across party lines? What does Atishi's last lap turnaround signal? Is there a silver lining to political sexism? First, let's listen in Atishi's reaction to her victory.
सबसे पहले तो मैं कालकाजी विधानसभा की जनता का धन्यवाद करना चाहती हूँ जो उन्होंने मुझ पर भरोसा दिखाया। मैं अपनी पूरी टीम का धन्यवाद करना चाहती हूँ जिन्होंने बाहुबल, गुंडागर्दी, मार पिटाई का सामना भी करते हुए जमीनी स्तर पे मेहनत करी और जनता तक पहुँचे। बाकी दिल्ली की जनता का जनादेश है, हमें जनादेश स्वीकार है। ये मैं अपनी सीट जीती हूँ, लेकिन ये जीत का समय नहीं है, ये जंग का समय ही है। जंग जारी रहेगी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के खिलाफ, उनकी तानाशाही और उनकी गुंडागर्दी के खिलाफ।
And I'm being joined by Pradeep Maur, who's a leader for BJP, Dr. Nimmi Rastogi, who's a spokesperson for Aam Aadmi Party, Anshul Avijit, who's a spokesperson for Congress, and Arati Jerath, who's a senior joining me. First, let me straight go to Dr. Nimmi Rastogi. Hard day, tough day, but some pockets of at least face savers and relief. But Dr. Nimmi Rastogi, to the question that we really are asking, how do you look at Atishi's victory against Ramesh Bidhuri? You'll have to unmute yourself, Ms. Nimmi Rastogi.
We extend our congratulations, and in all humility and modesty, we concede to our defeat. Well, win is a win, loss is a loss. Having said that, Aam Aadmi Party has shown more maturity and gravitas and little bit of, like more substance before elections and after the elections. Because even now in their victory, Bharatiya Janata Party leaders are saying superfluous things, distasteful thing कि आम आदमी पार्टी खत्म हो गई, बाय टाटा, गाने गा रहे हैं, like this is over, Arvind Kejriwal is over, Punjab is
Dr.
gone.
Nimmi Rastogi, actually, sorry to interrupt you. You have a right to respond to how you are responding. And fair enough, if as a spokesperson, that's how you're choosing to respond. But actually, may I just point out what you are doing is also politicking. Because we have brought in a very specific issue of gender. We have brought in a very specific issue of political sexism. And possibly you may want to rethink how you are responding to my question. But if you choose to do so, continue with how you are, you're free to do so. Go ahead.
Ramesh Bidhuri is not the best of the candidate as against Atishi, because Atishi is very highly educated, cultured, and she has the knowledge of a subject in depth. Whereas Mr. Bidhuri, with all caution, I would say he is an uncouth fellow. Nothing else is expected of him. He said something, and then instead of being mindful of the horrendous language used, he is justifying it because he is not cognizant of the fact that these things cannot be said about women. So this was, he made himself a laughing stock vis-a-vis Gal remark. I don't even want to say it, and Baap Badal Liya remark, and Hirni ki tarah ghum rahi hai. So poor fellow, I feel sorry for him. Like he worked hard, he spent hundreds of crores, but he lost. I mean, you should be watchful as to what you say, but that comes organically. I mean, he's not polished. So he would say
Pradeep
what
Mahar,
his,
do you want to respond?
What his
Do you want to
mind...
respond, Pradeep Mahar? Congratulations, by the way, Pradeep Mahar, for the big victory,
Thank
for the
you,
big
and
stunning
I would
BJP
like
victory.
to.
But one
I
of
would
the
like.
sour grapes really in the basket is with what's happened with Mr. Biduri. I mean, he was trumped a big leader by the BJP. He was touted to fight against Atishi, come out successful. What happened? Did BJP realize it was just a wrong track he took?
Okay, first of all, I would like to congratulate the people of Delhi for the emphatic voting in favor of Bharatiya Janata Party. And this is the vote for the development. This is the vote for the change. And so many big faces like Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodiya are not there in the picture. They are defeated now. So, I mean, even these, as far as these three seats were concerned, Arvind Kejriwal's, Manish Sisodiya's, and Atishi's seat, these three were the tough seats. So, directly relating that because of one comment, this seat is defeated, it's not correct. There are many reasons for any victory or defeat. There are many people involved, many kind of, permutation combinations that are involved. People's emotions are involved. As far as the Atishi seats are concerned, I'll talk more candid on it. Basically, what happens is when some women is successful and reaches to the level of a chief minister, understand, people, especially women, are connected to the success story, and it's very obvious. So it was very, very tough seat for anybody to win, right? Uh, it was a tough fight, and in this tough fight also, the difference is 3,500 votes. So I can very well understand what has happened on the seat. Overall, a very good victory. Out of these three tough seats, Arvind Kejriwal's, Manish Sisodiya's, and Atishi's seat, we are able to win 2 seats, and this is the good news for Bharatiya Janata Party, rather, and this is the good news for everybody who planned this strategy.
You still have chosen not to answer my question, Pradeep Mahar, but you are a seasoned panelist. I'm assuming that you are skirting the issue. You have chosen not to. That's how I'm interpreting your answer, Pradeep Mahar. Before I go to my next guest at this point, Anshul Avijit, if I can bring you in at this point, Anshul, Alka Lamba was also there in the game, and of course she took a very strong stand. She gave some very strong responses. But as a party, do you think success, or rather, in fact, the defeat of Ramesh Bidhuri has anything whatsoever linked or connected to the words that he chose to speak repeatedly, the way he did play around with casual sexism? Or is that by far a stretch, something that did not even become an issue whatsoever with the voters? Anshul Avijit.
Well, in general, I do hope that people who indulge in sexism and choose to indulge in communal remarks, remember that Mr. Biduri has been indicted on both counts. I'm sure people who believe in gender equity and our composite culture have faith in that, are glad to see the back of him. But regrettably, I'm not quite sure in general, if you speak, if Indian politics has really evolved to the stage where people who repeatedly indulge in those remarks are ousted by the electorate. I don't think it's come to that. As yet, I wish it comes to that very soon. First of all, he was given a ticket in the first place after the remarks he gave in Parliament. So that itself shows what the BJP and what its mentality is. Secondly, I must say something about the person. Congratulations, by the way, to the BJP for this victory. But the man who's Mr. Verma, who congratulations to him, who's tipped to be the next chief minister, let's see who becomes ultimately, has himself been accused of making communal remarks a couple of years back. So there seems to be a pattern between these kind of communal remarks, sexism in the BJP itself. Now that they've won, to have somebody like them actually lead the BJP in Delhi, well, it's going to be unfortunate, but the people have decided we must respect their verdict. So let's see what happens from here. But I'm sure that many of us who believe in these principles of gender equity will be really glad to see the back of him.
Well, Anshul, Avijit, that's right. I mean, I understand the context in which you have quoted about Mr. Verma, but he did express regret later on. We'll have to see how he really panders to that nonetheless. But Arati Jerath, good evening. Thank you for your patience. You've been a journalist for a very, very long time. Really see what's panned out, you know.
Sorry, your voice broke.
Even if people have not followed politics very closely, would remember, I think Ms. Jerath is having some problem here or hearing me,
Yeah,
but
now I
think you've
hear
been
you.
hearing the discussion, Ms. Jerath. People
Yes.
people who have not even followed Delhi elections very closely would know about Biduri's remarks and the remarks that he made. Do you really think Indian elections has reached a place where you can make a candidate pay a price for casual sexism, or it's completely unlinked to the election results?
There are lots of reasons why a person wins an election and why a person loses an election. But I do feel that Ramesh Bidhuri's unwarranted, uncalled for, patriarchal, sexist remarks was one of the reasons why Atishi won. I just wish that her victory had been much larger and Ramesh Bidhuri had lost by a bigger margin so that we could have very definitively said that, yes, he has been punished for his the remarks that he made, which were so distasteful and so for women in politics, it's always a battle. It's always a battle to fight patriarchy. It's always a battle to fight the, spoken, unspoken sexual discrimination and the kind of harassment and abuse that they face within the party when they go out on the streets and even in the selection of ticket distribution. Why don't political parties, for instance, give more women tickets? But they don't because, it is a very, very male-dominated field. Politics is a very male-dominated field. So I wish Ramesh Bidhuri had lost by a bigger margin so that we could have very definitively said that, yes, he has been punished for what he said. But still, let us draw some comfort from the fact that he did lose and Atishi did win. It was a very tough election for her. She was trailing for a very long time. And I would like to think that finally Ramesh Bidhuri has been made to pay a price for what he said.
Arati Jerath, I have to ask you this. While we are talking about Atishi and possibly a not very big margin by which she won, which is also the truth, but just to look at the manner in which the Aam Aadmi Party top brass has crumbled completely.
Yes.
Just to see the mammoth crumbling and to see how Atishi, the only woman candidate, a sitting chief minister, you may mock her for whatever about that seat that she left empty, saying, it's for Kejriwal, dedicated to Kejriwal. All those politics aside, even if you're talking about numbers, that 3,000 still holds significant in the larger picture.
Oh, of course it does. No question about it. And this was a tough seat for her, actually. She doesn't come from there. And even, in fact, at the very beginning, we were hearing that she may actually lose the seat. She was being pitched as one of the possible losers. So possibly Ramesh Bidhuri helped her to win by, sort of creating some kind of sympathy for her. Because I think no woman should be subject to the kind of attacks that she was subject to. And, she's a very, very humble and cultured person, while even the lieutenant governor, who otherwise has been at loggerheads with Arvind Kejriwal and, the AAP government in Delhi, was full of praise for Atishi, for her dedication, for her conscientiousness, for the way she perused files and took decisions. So, she is a good woman and really she should not have been. I'm surprised that the BJP even gave him a ticket. after what he said in Parliament, for which he was pulled up, and then he was denied a ticket to the Lok Sabha, possibly because of what happened in Parliament. And then we find that he's been given a ticket for the assembly election. That came as quite a shock, I think, because for me, I thought, he should now be in political exile after what he did in Parliament. He's not a first-time offender. But anyway, now he's lost, and I hope that now he will be sent into political exile. And yes, I mean, I think certainly Atishi's victory is a statement of sorts. As you said, particularly when the entire top brass of Aam Aadmi Party has collapsed, except for 3 people, Atishi being one of them. But I just wish the margin had been bigger. Just as a woman, I would have really liked to see him getting trammed by a much larger margin.
Yep.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean by. Yes, please, Pradeep Maur, I'm coming to you only because at the end of the day, back was almost like, in a way, what Ms. Jerath has said, because Jerath is saying just by the fact of the margin with which Atishi has won, you can't be definite about the fact that what Biduri's statements were the reason for her victory. There could be multiple reasons. And because you chose not to respond about Biduri's statement, you really chose not to respond. What do you think are the reasons that she won then?
Look, first of all, my reply should not be taken to the senior journalists, because this is basically for the political people sitting in your panel. And we have seen, I mean, if we are talking about political exile of people who create some kind of sexist, derogatory, or such kind of remarks, then there should be the political exile given to many people. Understand, we heard a very recent discriminatory remark from Sonia Gandhi itself, what she said about our president. So that was a discriminatory remark. We heard about words like, I don't even feel like, talking about it on the camera. So we heard the words like this: for the most honorable position of India, that is the president, right? In law, that is considered to be one of the most respectable person. Even internationally, that person is respected. We heard such kind of, sexist, derogatory, discriminatory, all kind of remarks for her. So, if this person...
And therefore, Biduri is justified?
Look, not justifying. I'm not justifying. Understand? Nobody justified. When he made this remark,
you are.
Did anybody come to the camera?
You are saying there are rotten apples in the other side, so this rotten apple is great.
Justify? Even I was there. I was there with you. Did I say that is a... did I try to defend him? No, not at all. Nobody from BJP defended him. In fact, he might have got a scolding also. But understand, this is BJP, where people are scolded for such kind of remarks. And second, understand, people also come to the camera, come to the public, and they have to publicly, apologize for this. He apologized also, right? He said that, that was wrong, that was slip up, whatever comments he made. He apologized also.
Within apologizing, within hours of so-called expressing regret, within hours of that, he went on to say
let me make myself
comments which are pretty crass, dragging in the father of a sitting chief minister. So it's not about expressing regret. But let me get an Anshul Avijit for the lack of time. Anshul Avijit, you just heard Pradeep Maur, and that also is really the bottom line of it. Election has come, election has gone. Sexism, patriarchy, toxic masculinity, all maneuvers around. How would you respond to the equation that Pradeep Maur has done of the BJP, certain BJP leaders and certain Congress leaders?
Minister went to LK Advaniji's place, and the president was actually standing there. That's an iconic photograph of patriarchy's worst hour, its purest form. Can I remind everyone of that particular moment? It's ridiculous that should happen. So what else can you expect from a party like this, where they repeatedly give tickets? Can I remind you of what happened to women wrestlers, or Bilkis Bano, or millions of other cases where they have actually sided with people who've done far worse than make statements? It's ridiculous that they're out there defending and repeatedly giving tickets to that. So there's nothing else to be said. You know, in larger question of democracy, whether it's reached a point where there is indictment by the electorate of people who are sexist or communalist or casteist, well, I really hope that time comes very soon. They need to be ousted. They need to be banished. From politics, you know, unfortunately, there is no other case. You can still fight elections, but they need to go. And people have to really watch their words when they speak. There is a colloquialism. We understand that there, in the heated moments of politics, many things are said, but things are unacceptable here. So I really hope that things are not repeated in future, because it only, and I'm glad you're highlighting them. You know, they need to be highlighted. Such people need to be called out, because awareness needs to spread. Some people are unwittingly patriarchal as well. I mean, it takes years for a society to actually transform. Okay. But now it's too late. It has to come fast.
Okay.
And I believe it will.
Abhijit, I apologize. I think I'll have to interrupt at this point. In fact, Ms. Jerath, I did want to come to you. I had a very important question, because this also happened during the Lok Sabha elections, and it has happened before as well. But I will have to cut this short, because Prime Minister Modi has just arrived at the headquarters, and in moments from now, he will be addressing everybody. He's looking forward to see what he really chooses to address. Those are the visuals on your screen. Very quickly, time for a very short break. Thank you very much to our panelists, Pradeep Maur, Dr. Nimmi, Rastogi, Anshul Avijit, as well as Arati Jerath. Thank you so much for joining us.